I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
I'm good.
Hello everybody, I'm Robert Zone from Value Electronics here in Scarsdale, New York. And today I want to thank you all for joining us. We're going to be doing an unboxing of Samsung's 98-inch QN90A. The QN90A, as many of you know, is the flagship model from Samsung this year for the 2021 model year. And it's their flagship 4K HDR TV. It's a mini LED television. It has the new next-gen ATSC 3.0 tuner built in. It's mini LED. It's quantum dot color quality. So we have very high expectations for this television. It's priced accordingly at $14,997, all including delivery nationwide. And it's available now. We're one of the few and first dealers to get this gorgeous TV. And we're about to do the unboxing right now. So without further ado, let's get into the presentation.
Thank you so much, Robert. Now you'll see Robert Zone and I unboxing. Now, for context, I'm 6'3", Robert is 6'2", and that top of the box is taller than both of us. Unboxing this monster. Literally, you'll see how the carton comes apart. Quickly, please check out Shane at Spare Change. You're seeing him in frame. His video will release either this evening or tomorrow afternoon, where he'll be doing a more in-depth unboxing. You see he's filming, he's up close, and he'll be showing you the installation of the stand and more in-depth tech specs. Now, as I'm the one unboxing it, I'm only filming from my camera behind, so I won't do much as far as unboxing it, other than tell you that it is a large undertaking unboxing something this size. It is mini LED, so it still is rather thin, very small bezel, and the same design as the QN90A that you guys all know and love. The X92, which is right behind me, has a totally different design specifically for that larger 100-inch panel, meaning it's got 4 handles on it. The QN90A, I think because it's mini LED and they want to maintain that streamlined design, did not have any handles on it. You will need 3 or 4 people to actually lift it safely. Not just due to its heft, but because the stand is like the stand you guys know. It's a center stand which hooks underneath. The base has to be about 60 pounds. So you need to have 1 person holding the base and then 2 at least on the other side, not gripping the bezel or the panel, just lifting it in the palm of their hands. My favorite part of unboxing is this moment here when you see a display of any kind just kind of standing there in midair. Samsung packages their stuff very well. They do not have a plastic coating or wrapping on the screen like LG and Sony. They do have these white stickers on either side to keep the panel from being squeezed too hard. And there it is. Very majestic at this size. I mean, it does blow you away. Between Samsung and Sony, these are really their first consumer panels that are buy to own versus concepts or $100,000 panels. There is Wendy's Zone, their daughter Leanne, who also is in the business, and her husband Benny. Special shout out to Benny, is always an amazing help. Great guy. And again, look how much taller that is than Robert as we pull off the stickers on each side. What's also interesting for you guys is Wendy and Leanne, especially Leanne, really unboxes most of these panels and knows how to do these stands by heart. I've only done 2 QN90A videos where I put the stand together, so she was reminding me and showing me from across the room. So next time we'll get Leanne in the video to actually assemble it. It is a true family business, guys. That's why it is an honor to work with them, to be around them. They are not some big box retailer. They are so humble and genuine and generous and passionate. Here we're quickly comparing the 85-inch QN90A. The stand is exactly the same. Then you also have the X95J at 85 and the 100-inch X92. Being in the store is such a treat, but I cannot say it enough that they are amazing, amazing people. They are dear friends, and you are basically walking into their home, so to speak, and it feels that way. So special thank you to them for welcoming both Shane and I in there tonight. We were there for about 5 hours. We had an absolute blast. As we run through the setup here, Samsung is easy. Apps are already downloaded. And it was already to its latest firmware update, which we'll talk more about in the video. TVs are rarely what they are, like anything else. They update later in the year. The Q900A and the QN90A looked very different 6 months in. Favorite part of Samsung videos or demos are that intro. Blindingly bright.
I think it's a little bit more, but about that. Yeah.
Oh, these are Samsung demos.
Yeah. Yeah, no shame in owning this TV. It's very pretty.
And Robert, if you want to stand in front of it, that way you can just give it
You want
some
me to
size.
measure it? Robert, you want to measure it?
Well, Leanne's got the real good measurement because she'll give us the image area. I can just so just for the fun of it, the overall height is 49 inches. That includes the bezel.
Wow. Okay.
So the TV is about 40, almost 48 inches tall. And for 4K content, your recommended viewing distance is 1.5 times the vertical height. So you're supposed to be 6 feet away from this 98-inch TV.
Yeah,
6
that's
feet
amazing.
away.
So really think about that for a second. 4 feet 1 inches high. We think diagonally as far as 98 inches, but just think about it in terms of feet, how high that is. If you compare it to what you have sitting on a piece of furniture for you, or even hanging this panel. Right away, I run the hardest demos on it, and I am blown away by the lack of blooming. I've seen the QN90A when it first launched, and then throughout the year. Really impressed with the black level. These are not easy demos from LG. You'll see demos from LG, Hisense, Samsung, and our good friend Jennifer Gala. Now, we are not in a super bright room, but it's not completely dark either. Only because we have a lot of equipment there. And I'd like to have us in frame as much as possible just to give you the context of how large it is. And in most of these shots where Robert and I are in frame, we're still 2 or 3 feet in front of the panel. Now we're here looking at the different areas where we think light is kind of spilling. But unlike blooming, it'll be brief and then it normalizes. Those of you that have seen these demos a million times know they are very challenging. Now here we're just going through some of the settings quickly if you're not familiar with Samsung settings. What I do love about Samsung this year is they're vibrant no matter what settings you have them in. Natural, your movie modes, you can really get through them and it still looks extremely, extremely bright. Very, very punchy. Next week, I'll be there with a PS5, and we'll see how the game mode is. And keep in mind, this was fully updated out of the box, so it is the Samsung QN90A in its final form. I say that because updates are so important. When you review a TV, even a large publication, they're typically reviewing a review sample or a first allocation. And these TVs, like everything that we have nowadays, take various updates, and these do affect picture quality nowadays. It's not just an operating system thing. So the algorithm on the QN90A greatly improved throughout the year. Now, many of you will say, well, hey, this is last year's panel. Why would they do this? Well, it is last year's panel and design, but the panel itself is QC'd. There's very few of them made. No screen uniformity issues at all. We all thought that large panels would have, like many do, more screen uniformity problems, but these are very high end. Between this and the X92, no screen uniformity problems, no banding. I mean, very clean. Didn't run any slides on it, but we will do that next time I go. We'll be covering it more. You're going to see it calibrated, then go against the X92J, which is also to my right in this video. I'll be showing a comparison of them at the end of this video, but it's very hard to do them like for like, as it was getting rather late. Now you're seeing Jennifer Gala's amazing content, very natural, but Samsung bringing out the vibrancy, the saturation. I believe when showing a Samsung, to be honest, and this is something that I think we should also incorporate into the shootout, is let them run wild. LEDs, let them run wild. Trying to make them look like OLEDs or calibrating them to look like OLEDs, I think sometimes is a disadvantage. Now you're going to see the Samsung green that everybody laughs about. Now I can get the color out and make it look more natural, but I'm really looking for it to be vibrant in this video. I like when Samsungs look like Samsungs. If you're looking for accuracy, they can be calibrated. They are difficult to calibrate. We will have Dwayne D. Nice calibrate this one. And even when you see it compared to the X92 is calibrated. But why is Samsung so popular? Why are they so attractive for what you're seeing? Even with an OLED next to it in the store, Samsung still jump off the wall. They like jump off the page if they were in a magazine. And even the bit of, I can't say blooming, the way they handle it isn't really a halo around objects. It'll kind of light up the screen a little bit. But the way it blends in with the image, it doesn't actually look like blooming. Now here I do have it in dynamic mode, just letting it flex. And the panel will also be running nonstop from when we left to break it in. I will be there next week with a PS5, as I may have mentioned already, to see how it looks with gaming. I'm very concerned with gaming with Samsung products, as the local dimming at times can be disabled for performance. I want to see if that's the case. But what a treat for me personally as a creator, and to again be with Robert, Wendy, and Leanne. Just amazing people. You don't feel like you have to get out of there. Towards the end, all we're doing is geeking out as we're comparing all the TVs. It's a dream. It really is. And no one else on the platform are filming these TVs. And you're going to see so much of that this year from us. Z9K. We'll be doing the new ZX, the second ZX from LG. You'll be seeing them compete with each other. We'll be doing mini shootouts all year. Look at that. And also, guys, with LED, what I love is that the whites are white. It is not a weakness. Now I'm going to go right to a very hard, boom. This is the LG demo that many of you are familiar with. But what is interesting in this video here is that the local dimming is actually on low. And it handles the black level this well. It is also slim. It is mini LED. The light control is very different than how the Sony approaches it. Sony, shadow detail. In a star field, you'll see more detail. You'll see more stars. But with Samsung, there's sometimes more of a 3D image. There's parallax. It makes you feel like it's standing out from the screen. Which one is right? Which one is wrong? There is no right and wrong. There is what you love, what you want to see your content be in. Why I personally think Samsung's struggle in our shootouts is having them calibrate down, to me, takes away their strength. This Hisense demo is absolutely brutal for LEDs. No problem for the QN90A. I mean, really, no problem. Now, if you watch the way I film, I'm not a photographer. I'm not dropping aperture. There are no tricks with the camera. There are no filters. I don't need to manipulate the image. It looks that good. It is so vibrant that it looks like the lights are off. That's how bright it is. Now, Samsungs also tend to be brighter the larger they get. We will also get Dwayne D. Nice to actually measure the light output, count the zones. We'll do all that. But this is a torturous demo from Hisense. For processing the smoke, the light. If you ever run this on a lower quality panel, you'll see that the smoke is hard to handle. It will dither. There will be static in it. And it is so vibrant. I'll keep saying that. It is very, very vibrant. For me personally, you may see a LED replace my C1 this year. Now you're going to laugh here too. This is Samsung green. When I go back to actually compare it versus the X92, again, once they're both calibrated, you won't see the green from Samsung they call like nuclear green. I still have to laugh. I love the way it looks at times just because it's so out there. Now also keep in mind, it is quantum dot. It has a wider color gamut. Now that's not real green right there. It might actually still be in vivid, but that's okay. So in the comments, keep in mind, we're not here trying to show you the accuracy. I'm trying to show you how clean it is, how vibrant it is. You've seen these demos in all of my material, all the OLEDs, A90J. It looks absolutely stunning. Samsung's motion processing, how they handle their motion. If I told you this was an 8K panel, you'd be like, okay, you would buy it in the way that you would think it was 8K. I'm really, really impressed with it. Now, Samsungs are known to be difficult to calibrate. They are hard to reel in. But guys, honestly, I'm not somebody that cares about the most accurate image. I want LEDs to be able to run wild. Be an LED. Don't try to be an OLED. Look at how black that is once it adjusts. So the camera is really catching up, but that's amazing. Cannot wait to play PS5 on it next week. Please in the comments, let me know what you want to see as far as what you want to see on these panels. I will be spending much more time with each one. It will not be a one and done year for me this year. I will be spending time with every one of these panels. I will game on them. You will see gaming on a $30,000 OLED. I am going to do that this year. I'm dedicated to bring you the most content that I possibly can. As I mentioned before, a good amount of these panels are coming home with me. Even the larger ones. Now, Samsung's look, either you love it or you don't. But you can't deny that it's their look. You don't have to love it, it's just theirs. I think Samsung made mistakes in the last number of years trying to look like the other companies, trying to be more accurate. Be you, do you. Look the way you want to look. Now here's the Sony X92 at 100 inches. Now the QN90A looks bigger as it's higher up. The challenge with filming these two, we will have them side by side, is that I can only shoot them head on, or at least the QN90A head on. The times where I go off angle on the X92, it does wash it out. It is full array. But you can also see a calibrated image on the right versus a non-calibrated. Here as we do the LG Lions, you can see there, well, you can't see it there, but there's more detail on the stars on the Sony, but on the Lions, the detail was more evident on them. So it's all about which it chooses to follow. Shadow detail, better blacks. More 3D dimensionality. There's a good image there. But look at Robert watch it. I mean, I want you guys to feel like you're in the room, to sit there with us and geek out over this. It's amazing. It's not all business. It's something we love to do. Now, why can't I show you movies, guys? Copyright does not let that be possible on this platform. But what's good about showing you a lot of the same demos is you know in your mind what they look like. You've seen them on every panel in the last few years. Next time I compare these two, you will see them side by side. Excuse me. They'll also be the same height, and they will both be calibrated. So they will look more similar. We'll get a better feel. The X92 is its own thing. It's not an X90. It's not an X95. The QN90A is a flagship QN90A. They are both absolutely stunning, but I love seeing how the different manufacturers prioritize their image. There's times where the X92 looks like you're looking out a window. There's times where the QN90A looks like a painting. It's all about what you want, what you like. But what a dream to be able to sit here with that much TV, guys, that large. And being an LED fan, seeing the whites be white, seeing the peak brightness, shielding your eyes. I love it. I have OLEDs. I love OLEDs too, but I'm always pulling for the LEDs, always. And seeing the best that these two manufacturers have to offer, man, awesome. And I hope I'm conveying that well to you. I want you to feel like you're in the room with us. Again, I'm too far off angle on the X92, so it will look washed out at times. At the end of the video, we're going to have a wrap up with me, Shane, and Robert. That'll also be part of Shane's video as well, and here it is. Well, not quite now, in another like 30 seconds, but it's cool to see Robert sitting in front of this panel. Again, special thank you to Robert, special thank you to Wendy. Thank you for always making me feel like family, making our community feel like we're part of your family. We'll watch Robert and Shane do the wrap up. Thank you guys so much.
All right, guys, so you guys got to take a quick sneak peek of the 98-inch QN90A Samsung beast of a television set. We got to take a peek at some little demos that Brian set up for us.
Yes.
What are some of your thoughts on some of the, first of all, some of the highlights? What'd you think?
I would say that I was very impressed with it. Versus the QN90A when it launched last year. I felt like it's a more complete display now. It's the updated right out of the box. It didn't take any updates. It's up to its current firmware. Very impressed with its black level, its saturation, light control. It was excellent, very sharp, very punchy. and I was really surprised at how it controlled the blacks.
Thank you.
I will say that I was very impressed the second we took it out of the box, how deep and dark and contrast these black levels were. I mean, we were getting very good image depth and separation, especially with some of the more colorful demos that you threw on.
Yeah.
But then I felt like things took a little bit of a turn once we compared it to the Sony.
I would have to agree that that's all true. I can parrot everything that you just said. This is a very wonderful and impressive TV. Nobody would be unhappy if they bought this Samsung QN90A. But when we did compare it to the 100-inch X92, I saw a little more detail in the images. I saw better control of the backlight. I saw what appeared to me to look in most images to have better blacks and just a more accurate, more depth in the image. But if you don't compare them and you put them in two separate rooms, I'm not sure anybody would know which was which. These are two very fine TVs. We got them butt up against each other and we're critically looking at them. So you can't beat that new XR processor. They know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Sony has a more realistic, natural look to it. As we all know, with Samsung's color gamut and their saturation. What we'll need to do is we're going to have them calibrated.
Yes.
And then put like-for-like content that is from a Panasonic machine with the 9000.
Yes.
And then we'll do actual Stacy Spears, the calibration disc. That way we are going like for like. And it's interesting to see the two different technologies and how they handle the same opposition in regards to how they tackle blacks, and how in some areas the Samsung was more black in one part of the screen but faded in the top, and the Sony was less detailed in that part but had more stars. Yeah. So it's interesting seeing how they handle
that is interesting that it is true that the star field with the same exact image on the same frame was better on the Sony, which is a full array local dim TV, versus a mini LED. I would have expected, in theory, on paper, that the mini LED would have done better, but that's not the case.
So we had more stars in the star field on the Sony.
And better blacks.
But the Samsung lines were more defined.
Yes,
so it's all about where the algorithm was trying to focus, it felt like. Yeah, so they did trade blows.
So I feel like it was treating the darker sections of the image and dimming it down lower than what the Sony was doing.
Yeah.
And then the brighter parts of the image of the Samsung was bringing it up more.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like there was a better balance on the Sony. So we're getting a good balance between darkness and lightness. So we're seeing more detail in the shadows, but also a little bit less detail in the brightness areas.
That's true.
Whereas on the Samsung, it was kind of boosting up more resolution in the brighter areas.
It's like picking where it wants to pop.
Correct.
I think it's almost like either one was showing you what they thought was more important.
Correct.
And that's what's great about the two different processing approaches, is which one, it's like the black bars, some aim at making those darker and others focus on the content. So it was interesting watching them trade blows.
And interestingly, they both have excellent black bars in the CinemaScope cropping bars.
They absolutely do. And I would say the Samsung behaved very well off angle. That was definitely a strength of mini LED. I think that's better than a full array local dimming. That was tangible, I thought, with this, but we'll have to see upon further testing.
So different tone mapping curves, as it would
Yes.
appear.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, that's just our quick impressions of the Samsung 98-inch QN90A Mini LED television set.
Correct.
If you want to check out the full review, check out Brian's channel, Whisper Status 74. Subscribe to him. I'll leave a link down below in the video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys want to pick up any one of these television sets, either the Sony X92J or the Q90A, stop by valueelectronics.com. Tell them that we sent you. They'll hook you guys up with some exceptional service. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you again in the next video.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.